Here we go. Welcome to another Drupal and Coffee. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Weber, otherwise known in the Drupal spheres as Cosmic Dreams. With me tonight, as always, Lowell Johnson. Say hi, Lowell.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, world. Drupal and Coffee is a 2-hour program where we dive pretty deep into Drupal development. We've done a lot of interesting things. We've tried to port a old Drupal 6 site to Drupal 8. We've worked on a number of Drupal console commands. Had a great conversation about accessibility. Last week we walked through debugging a Drupal 8 module and walked through the architecture of Drupal 8 code. Tonight, we're going to try to port a Drupal 7 module to Drupal 8. And you can see the basic plan in front of you. We're going to try to use a Drupal module called the Drupal Module Upgrader. And it's got a couple commands that we're going to try to use. It's got an analyze command, and it actually will attempt to do the full-on upgrade of a Drupal 7 module. We'll try to put that module through its paces to see where it's currently at. Most undoubtedly, though, we'll get to a point where we're going to have to manually get in there and fix it. So that's why we're pretty excited about that, but most likely we'll run into some problems that we'll have to figure out. And I've been talking to a number of people who are interested in maybe doing a show where we focus on CMS's content management systems that is not Drupal. Maybe spin up a copy of different CMSs and try to put those systems through its paces. Tonight, I had tentatively planned to walk through a CMS that a number of people I work with really like, called Craft CMS. And I do have that demo ready, but kind of last minute, I was talking to a couple people on Twitter, and it sounds like that there is like interest in the craft community to jump on a show like that. So sorry, David. If you're hearing this, maybe it would be a good idea to postpone that and schedule that for some time where we can just focus on that instead of trying to carve off a little bit of this show's time to focus on that, give it the time that it's will need to really dive deep. So maybe next week. With that, let's jump in. Let's see here. I'm just talking with Brandon Kelly, and maybe we can go through it together. Oh, there's a Craft CMS there. Should have gotten this ready. So I reached out to Reddit and Google+, and I got a lot of great suggestions about what module we could port tonight. The winner was this Alley module, the accessibility toolkit. Notice that the URL for this is A11Y. And it was a module, looks like the module owner is Brian Olendijk, otherwise known as BTO Pro on the Drupal spheres. He's an excellent developer who's been doing a lot of work with the educational learning systems. A lot of great stuff from him, from Penn State University. Looks like they've got a lot of great stuff put together there. The Drupal module upgrader is found on the Drupal module upgrader project. I first heard about this a couple years ago while Drupal 8 was still in development, and it seemed like this very exciting idea that perhaps we would have a script that could help us part of the way in getting a Drupal 7 module upgraded. And looking forward to put that idea through its paces tonight. The way that you get it, probably the best thing to do is to actually check out its Git repository. In case you don't know, probably if you're watching this, you probably do know, but you can get to any Drupal module's Git repository by going to its project page and then clicking on version control. And on that page, you will get all the instructions you need in order to check out the Git repository for that module. And that's what I've done in my project here. I've got the code checked out. One thing that is different about the Drupal module upgrader is that you have to, let me see if I can increase the font size here. You have to, once you get the module, you have to navigate to the folder that contains the module and then run composer install. That's step 4 here, after you get the module. And then it will get all of the dependencies that it has. And at that point, you'll be able to use it properly. There are a number of Drupal or Drush commands that it makes available. Drush is a common command line tool that Drupal developers use. I'm trying to find where those commands are listed here. Anyways, they start with the DMU syntax. I'm sorry I can't make this font size any bigger. But if I do a Drush rep DMU, I'll get this short list of commands that it has available. It has an analyze, it has an index, a list, and an upgrade. It's the upgrade that we will do last. And you can see here I've also checked out the Ally module. It's notable that this is a Drupal 8 website, but the Ally module is the Drupal 7 version of the module. See, we've got our .info, some of these other artifacts that we normally would see in a Drupal 7 module if we don't have any twig templates. And just looking at the anatomy of the module, looks like they've got like, this folder is named plugins, but this is really like a whole bunch of libraries, it looks like. Well, maybe I should have looked at the contents of this module. We've got a number of modules with a number of hooks here. We've got a permissions hook, an info hook. Looks like there's a block view. A block info looks like that means it has a number of blocks that it creates. This one's called accessibility options, and then in order to generate the content of that block, we have this Ally block. Uses a number of variables. We even got a Drupal render for some kind of render array that it's creating here. Looks like that's going to be interesting. Maybe we'll have some render array stuff to do here, porting that to Drupal 8. That'll be fun. You got some menus, some administrative settings. I wonder if they used system. Yep, the system settings form. We'll have to convert that. What else? What else? There's this Ally. Oh, we've got a Drupal add library. That's interesting. We'll have to use the new library registration system for this module, and we got a Drupal add JS. That's got to go. We don't like that idea anymore. We're all about attaching libraries and stuff like that, so we may have to look that up. And then Ally FA, hook FA Ally returns the accessibility block to foundation access. I wonder if they are actually calling out the base theme that's called Foundation there. So that's an interesting overview. Simulations is a folder, and we've got another JavaScript library there. Looks like we've got a lot of specific libraries being called out here. And whenever that variable is set, it wants to include another JavaScript library. And yeah, so they're actually thinking about these as if they are plugins, but really they're just the libraries that are being pulled in. And lots of Drupal add JSs. So I would hope that the Drupal module creator is knowledgeable about a lot of different ways that we've mapped old ways of doing things, like doing the Drupal add JS, to new ways of doing things, like we like to attach libraries so that the Drupal library or asset management system knows which libraries are dependent upon other libraries, so it knows when to load the right JavaScript libraries at the right time. Drupal add JS was kind of a bad idea that we had to live with, because it was often implemented in this way, without any kind of dependencies, and it was just kind of something that loaded the JavaScript globally, without condition, without context. So that'll be interesting to see. I think we're ready to do it, Lowell. Do you have any questions at this point, Lowell? Concerns? Didn't quite catch that.
I'm trying to follow you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got this website running in Acquia Dev Desktop, which might mean that if I'm going to execute this command properly, I'm going to have to jump into my Windows command prompt, which I don't like to use. By the way, Lowell, did you hear the news? They're actually going to land a Ubuntu-based command prompt.
Yes.
By new versions of Windows 10.
I heard that yesterday. Something about 11.
Well, yeah, they're not really calling it 11. The Windows 10 is going to be this kind of evergreen thing for a while.
Yeah.
They're calling it, what are they calling it? They're calling it like Anniversary Edition or something.
Yeah,
like
so they want to have a Linux command prompt. And
I hope that's just a code name at this point.
Sure, see how it goes.
All right. Well, let's ask the command, how do we use it? And let's take a look at the analyze command. Analyze. Let's see if we can just get help on it. I didn't seem to like that. Yeah. I couldn't find the command. But when I asked Drush, it listed the command. So I'll ask you again, Drush. You know about the command? Yes, you do. All right. Well then, Drush, what can you tell me about it? I spelled that right. Well, I'm going to need to jump into something that understands and can access the database. That totally makes sense.
Right. That was not spelled right.
Oh, I didn't spell it right. What do you mean?
You hit the up arrow and look.
Oh, I didn't do that the first time, did I?
I don't know.
Yeah, not dumb.
I had to put my glasses on so I could see that.
I like it small. Yeah, well, I'm still getting a problem. Yeah. So let's get the right prompt. Here we are. Let's clear all that junk. There we go. So, Drush, what can you tell me about the analyze command? It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. Oh, well, it doesn't think I've actually enabled the Drupal module upgrader. All right. Install Drupal module upgrader. Huh. Maybe I did mistype it. Maybe I didn't.
Just to brush it in.
Oh, well, I thought I did. I've got it here, don't I? Oh, internal server error. Do I need to clear the cache again? I uninstalled you. How are you doing that? Might need to clear the cache again. This was when I installed that web profiler. I would hate to, and it's still running. I thought I installed the Drupal web profiler. Let's ignore it for now. Hopefully it's not going to be too annoying. Am I doing that thing again where I've got the code in a different project? Let me check to see what's going down. All right. This one's pointing to that folder. This code is that folder. So it's actually this URL. And why is that secured? Why is that HTTPS? That doesn't need to be HTTPS. I just launched a whole brand new browser. I don't need all these tabs. Well, looks like I'm in there. Let's log in. Oh! I just told this tab to close. Close tab. Thank you. A one-time link is probably not one. Oh! Yes, I can explain it.
Yay!
That's nice. Hey, something actually worked in our favor.
Yeah, it's green.
There we go. We'll let the web profiler catch up. Ah, Drupal module upgrader. There we go. Let's turn that on. Step 1. Does it blow up my entire site if I enable it? Yeah. Okay. Promising. And now, Drush, if I ask you what you know about the implementation, you know what I'm talking about? You do! You know what I'm talking about. That's great. Okay. So I can execute drush dmu analyze on the alley module, which um, I think is A11Y. I guess we're about to find out. Now let's see, options. Only a comma separated list of analyzers. Okay. I guess it would help to get a list of analyzers. An optional path to put a report. I guess instead it's going to spit it all out to the screen. And yeah, okay. I've seen enough. Throw caution to the wind. Ooh, indexing. Done. Generated a report. Cool. Hey, that's an HTML page. We can open that. Yeah, I guess I can close this. All right. Here's that. And I'll open that in a browser. Looks like it opened here. Okay. So what we have should be a list of all the things that it found that I need to fix in the code. This is actually better formatted than I thought it was going to be. So every time it finds a thing, it's pointing me to not just the documentation for that thing that needs to be fixed, but also the change notices. Because while Drupal 8 was in development, every single thing that we changed that was somewhat significant, that would make an impact on themers or on developers or on site builders, it was documented. And so you kind of get pointed to, hey, why did you change this? I'm upset. And you get pointed to the document that should be explaining why, and other documentation that explains how to handle the change. That's why this hook menu one is very interesting. Yeah.
So these are all things that inherited already.
Breaking up a little, Lowell.
Sorry.
Yeah, it sounds good now. What did you say?
These are all things that the module has done for us already. Or it will do.
We will find out. But even if it doesn't do it properly, the conversion automatically for us, then it at least is pointing us in the right direction.
I think there you go. More.
Yeah. And it seems like the color is pointing to things that are of different severity. Like, Drupal render has been removed. Yeah, your code's going to break if you don't fix this. Versus many common functions, shared variables, and constants have been renamed. Yeah, things like that. Actual permissions need to be in a permissions file. So this is kind of interesting. If we go back to the list of commands that are available, this might be the last time we did this. Grep dmu. there were like four, and the only two we haven't done is DMU list. That one sounds like it's not destructive, so let's just go ahead and do that. And this should give us a list of all the different kinds of ways that it could scan. Oh. Missing. Oh, argument. Oh, okay. Drush help DMU list. It requires a plugin type. Yeesh. Okay, we'll analyze it. Drush DMU list. Analyzer. Yikes! Look at all that. So that is very quickly getting into the weeds. What if we had converter? I don't even want to try to understand that. All right. So the time has come. We're going to have the system try to do the conversion and see where we end up. I bet that's the DMU upgrade. Upgrades the Drupal 7 module to Drupal. Okay. One more moment. Hang the suspense a little bit. What could we do with the module? All right. So if we had a module named pants, and we did DMU upgrade on those pants, then it would convert the module. Oh, and if we don't say backup, it's not going to back up the module before we try to migrate it. And I guess it migrates everything in place. Like it actually takes the folder that is the Drupal 7 module. Let's do that backup in case we need to run this again. Drush DMU upgrade, and then the name of the module, which is Alley. And then we'll say backup. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Ready to back up. All right. Alley does not implement hook array. Interesting. What did it actually do? Whoa, look at that. Whole lot of new files. We got a source directory here. And looks like it converted the system settings form into an admin settings form. There's a lot of stuff here. I can get rid of that now. It actually created a system form. It's got a submit form here. And it's pulling out the specific configuration file. And I bet if I look at the configuration directory here, yep, there's that file. And here are all the different variables that it might have used. And its initial values. There's also a schema here where it's actually establishing the settings as something that needs to be initialized and pushed into the database. Still got our plugins directory with all these different JavaScript libraries. Instead of a .info, we've got a .info.yaml. It's nice. Ooh, it created menu links for us, and it pointed to that administrative form. That's nice. Kept the title and description. Very nice. And the module had set a specific permission called view ally simulations. I'm going to convert that into its own permissions file. And it knows that if we're going to navigate to our system settings form, it needs to have a route for that. Okay. That's basically it for that. Let's see what happened in .module. Trying to see, is there any evidence that any lines change?
I'm surprised there's no libraries file, Phil.
Yeah, that is surprising. Mainly because it didn't figure out that it needed one. Let's see if we can find any existence of Drupal add. At fix me. The assets API has totally changed. Let's maximize that a little bit.
So it flagged everything we needed.
Yeah, it flagged it.
Yeah.
And libraries are now attached directly to render arrays using the attached property. And we should look at a couple of other places and then look at that. And oh, look at this though. Instead of getting the settings from a variable _get, it knows to get it from the config directly. There. Cool, cool, cool. So part of what our work, I guess, is, let's see how many more instances there are of this, is we could search for all the fix me's. And as a second pass, the first pass being the generator that scanned our module and did a whole bunch of work for us. That's the first pass. Second pass would be to hunt down each of these fix me's and do the appropriate action in order to satisfy what the script thinks we should do in order to fix this. And third pass would be to try to get the module working and see if there are any like obvious bugs that are being called out. Run through it with the debugger and stuff like that. So that's kind of the road ahead of us tonight to see. And I guess the main thing we need to figure out is how do we properly handle this library system. So let's take a look at some of the links that they're recommending and read through those. And this page that was generated earlier will probably also be helpful. All right, so this is the change notice where they called out that those API calls were removed. It looks like it's pointing out to this one. This is like the evergreen page where once we make more changes to how to document how to use assets in Drupal 8, we'll have that here. And so what should we call out here? Drupal uses a high-level principle. Assets, CSS, or JS are still only loaded if Drupal should load them. If you tell Drupal that it should load them. Drupal does not load all assets on all pages, because that is bad. We have definitely learned in many cases that is bad. In case you don't know, Drupal 7 would load jQuery on every page. even if there's no jQuery going on that page. It just didn't know any better than that it doesn't need to load jQuery on this page, and so that's why we have this library registration system now in Drupal 8. Okay, the process. Define, have a CSS or JS file, define a library which can contain both CSS and JavaScript files. Looking back at the code, there are certainly a number of instances where we've got a CSS and a JS file. We would probably want to load all of these files that are in the folder at the same time. So that'll come in handy. And it says to define one or more assets, add a libraries.yaml file into the module folder. So let's go ahead and do that. Libraries.yaml. There we go. And then we need to give them some kind of unique name and then provide the metadata about them. So naming them, usually a hard thing, but in this case, we'll probably be fine. Because the basic structure will be something like this. And we'll call this name of module, name of plugin. So one is animation. Yeah. Another one is contrast. And we've got open dyslexic. I'm wondering. Yeah, that does work. That's cool. Then text size. There we go. So what about this CSS theme? Why is there theme here? It's not theme here. And do I need the slash? Because it kind of sounds like what I want is CSS animation CSS and then that file. Why is that a key that points to an empty array? Let's find out. You may notice it's a theme key for CSS, which is not present for JS. This indicates the style and type the CSS belongs to. Oh, okay. Well,
what are the other options? Are there other styles?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's talking about the precedence, like what level of the processing should it be aware of this file, and it sounds like it's component. Like this is a specific it's going to be loaded in like a block, right? And I guess maybe I'm wrong about that. Like maybe it.
I see what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So this is just like a priority setting. Like
Yeah.
what gets loaded first versus what gets loaded last.
Yeah.
I think component makes sense for this link right now. Until we know more about what they're actually doing with it.
Maybe I'm still right about the folder. Like we oh, okay. The example assumes that the actual JavaScript cuddly slider.js is located in the subfolder JS of your module. Whoa, what did I do? So regretting that. 500%. Just wanted to zoom in a little bit. There we go. And so it looks like whenever it has that registration, it is trying to pull that information from the root of the project. So actually, we've got a plugins folder here, but maybe it would be better if we created a folder named CSS. Please stop that. And a folder named JS. But Brian would not want me to do that because it jumbles. The plugins have this nice kind of organization, but I would argue that we no longer need this kind of organization that he probably put a lot of time and thought into because of the library system. I'm doing what any developer would do at this moment, to make copies of all the things and have it in two places.
So why is it that you're copying it instead of moving it?
I'm doing it so that the library registration will be easier. Because now, I only need this one. Close others. Now, I can say CSS animation.co and JavaScript, and I can rely on these folders being there. Now I just need to correct the names of the rest of the files, and then this registration should be good. And if I need to make sure that I'm loading all the right things, like see here in contrast, reload the contrast.css and then reload the invert. So order matters. I'm going to have to find out how this should cascade. Let's fix the naming here. I'll be ahead of the game. We don't have any CSS for size, so let's cut that out. Get that right there. Now might be a good time to test to see if this leads to any kind of problems. We're potentially getting rid of all these directories, the entire plugin stuff. I think we might have to take the icons, pull that out. Even doing that. I'm not sure what to do with the simulations thing, but it's probably just the registration of another library. I almost think that it's going to be dependent upon the logic. We've got this ally.js to be concerned about too. Yeah. Let's go back to our search. We found fixed me's and see if we can check any of these off. So that one is just plain old adding the library jQuery cookie. And we looked at the link where we found out that everything was deleted. What about this extra one here? What is this? Another change record. Yeah, moved a whole bunch of stuff. This is probably the better page. Yeah, once we have items registered with names, like the, okay, well, how do we get the name registration right? The type. So, depending on which assets you may need to have loaded, you want to attach the corresponding library in a different way. Some asset libraries are needed on all pages, some are used rarely. Trying to find where it says how to call upon it kind of looks like the module name is fluffiness. Yeah. Module name, library name. Fluffiness, fancy table. Ooh, they have a specific solution here for attaching a library to the render array of a block. Which sounds exactly like what we're trying to do here. So there may be other things we need to fix here. Like we still have this ally admin settings hook. And it still has the system settings form function. That was Control-Shift-I to get detail about Click. Oh, Control Q. Okay. Ooh, it is undefined. So this whole function here, admin settings form, maybe it still exists in the module file, but maybe it could be outright deleted. Ally, apply ally. This whole function seems like something we wouldn't do anymore. All right. Well, if it kept the other function, it probably, yep, it should still have block info. And we need to create some block plugins instead. Now this block view looks like this is just the creation of a singular block. Yep, case ally, only for the ally blocks. We may just need to be able to generate one block and be able to make sure that it handles all this function. Yep. Oh, Lowell, I'm sorry for having to do this to you, but could you access the documentation page for assets and read through a couple of other evaluations? I will be right back.
Yeah, I wonder what Chris just asked me to do.
All right, I'm back, Lowell.
But you're back.
Yeah.
You covered so much stuff while you were away.
Gosh. So much?
Yeah, so much.
Well, let's get to Drupal console and see if it can generate a block for us. What do you think about that?
That sounds smooth.
Check our Drupal console out. See if we can ask it to update. Oh, looks like kind of a big jump to 0.11. Cool. Cool. Drupal generate what? Generate block plugin. Generate plugin. Generate. YAML.
There it is.
Where? Where do you see it?
Plugin : block.
Aha.
right there.
Generate, plugin, block, and there's our subject. Let's just jump right in. Enter module name. Yep, ally. Yep. Plugin class. Ally block. Plugin label. This is where I think we want accessibility options. Yep, plugin ID could be ally block. Theme region to render plugin block. Don't tell me. Validity services. I don't think so. Generate a form structure. I don't think so. But that certainly is an option now since blocks are fieldable and are full-fledged entities. Let's say no for now. And from generation. All right. So the module has a new folder. And we've got a plugin directory. We've got an ally block. Close that out there. And it says build. Implement ally block. And there's the admin label, accessibility options. Come to think that there's might be more here, but it is extending block base here, which is great. Let's enable this and see where we're at. It's 11 o'clock. Seems like a good time.
No way! You're gonna blow it all up?
That's what we do, Lowell. That's what we do.
What?
Didn't blow up yet. Still got a lot of work to do on it, but we haven't blown things up yet. All right. If any page is going to blow up, it's going to be this one. There it is. So it enabled an administrative page, and it probably added the block properly. All right, that page is blowing up. Maybe. Oh, come on. There we are. And we're back. Accessibility settings. You are not authorized to access this page. I am the super user. Why can't I access this page? It does say access denied. All right. Things, settings.
The permissions page.
Yeah. Word access is not showing up times. See if we can find the use of that permission anywhere. I found a few. That's where it's defined. That's where it's defined again. I think we can get rid of that. Aha! Here's where it's really used. And this is the block itself. Huh. What about the route? Oh, I think it's in the route. I think the route has to have some kind of permission listed. So let's compare another module, the Google Vision module we worked on previously. Aha! And the settings form had the administer Google Vision permission. Not exactly what I was looking for. What about paragraphs? For the routing there. A lot of it is administer paragraph types, administer. Don't you wish you could get a list of all permissions? Can Drupal console help us with that?
It might be a debug command in Drupal console.
Mm-hmm. Ah. Is there like a Drupal list? Yes, there was. What if I press F for permission? Generate module permissions. How about debug?
You need grep for access?
Config debug. Module debug.
No, no permission.
Setting. What about module debug? Too many arguments! Ah! Drupal
What?
module debug help.
Oh, I bet if you just type Drupal module debug, then it'll ask you which module.
All right.
Or
Oh no, this is. Give me the list of all the modules. Yeah. Yeah. And if they're installed or not. Yeah. It's kind of nice to have that come back pretty fast. No. I'm not gonna get the answer real quick. I guess.
We'll just add that same permission that you already set. Add it in the router.
I could do that.
The same one that we're setting in the module itself anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. That one.
Okay. Yeah, well, it needs to have some kind of permission.
I think there's a generic permission, like just access or something like that. But it makes sense to use the one above it, the key above it is what you. Yeah, that one.
Sure. Okay. Routing. And then the key was permission, and list the actual permission.
Was it plural? And it needs to. Yeah, there you go.
I'll double check. No, not there. Routing.
Oh,
yeah, permission.
You nailed it. Okay.
Yeah. Flush the cache. Well, that was good to see. Ah, screwed up that string. How? Let's just copy that. Ah. There we go. There. There's the ally permissions right there. Copy that. There we go. And now you're going to like that.
You need the curly braces if it's empty, but nothing if you got a key.
Yeah. It's no longer allowed to have that be empty. Since I'm the administrator, yay!
Easy peasy.
Cool. Progress. Yeah, I get the feeling that we're probably going to have to change that libraries. Where's something else that has libraries? Aha, paragraphs. Well, look how it's listing its dependencies. Oh, that's nice. Oh, and look how they named theirs, Drupal.paragraphs.admin. Yeah, and it's just calling out the CSS here, theme level CSS. You know what? We probably should use that same kind of dot notation instead of the slash notation we're using. Watch this. Ah?
It's like you're typing with 4 hands.
I know. Magic. And then we probably need Drupal ally global or base or something, because we need to go ahead and give it a version. We need to load the ally JavaScript itself, and that's not in. I guess we could put it in the JS. We could put a copy it, remove it. There we go. Put that in there. Well, that's weird that it's only doing that. But we still need to call that out. Yes. Yes. There we go. And then we have to figure out which ones of these use.
Yeah. You need a suffix on that.
Do I? What's going on?
The colon and the curly braces at the end of it.
Oh, it needs to be a key. Yeah. Notice how
what can optionally go inside of those? What are those for?
Don't know. But notice how it's got dependencies here.
Yeah.
Like I'm almost thinking that we're going to be listing core dot what was the jQuery.cookie?
Yeah.
Something like that. Might have to get there. But we've got the accessibility form working. We expected to see the block. And I guess if we wanted to place it in content, there it is, accessibility options. And this is what that form looks like. It's telling you where to show up. Now, we go home. We see that code, and here in the block, this is where that's spitting out right there. So let's dissect what's going on in the module and pull out the parts that actually dealt with the block. Oh, I guess I closed. Oh no, it's right here. So if we were just taking it verbatim, we don't need this info hook anymore. I was registering the block. And this view is taken over by this build. So if we wanted to take that verbatim, we would take this function. All of it. And drop it here. So it's really about what is this function doing? The ally block. And it's checking to see if specific keys exist, and then it's creating specific render arrays, and then it's rendering them, which is interesting. type checkbox. Optimize fonts for dyslexia. Does this sound like to you like it's a part of the, or maybe this is like a block that appears on the page and you want to be able to see what the content is, and then you, where am I? Right here. And then you run some kind of script on the content that's on the page. Maybe that's what this is. So I would kind of expect to have some kind of on-click action. Or maybe the JavaScript library is keying on the specific ID of the form element. If that's the case, I would expect to be able to search through the JavaScript and see that it's doing something keying off the specific ID. And lo and behold, we do see that. Doing things. All right. To the element that has that ID, register some kind of an action. And if the cookie is true, click the checkbox and then define the action. It will add a class to the body and append to the body the CSS. Oh, wow. And it makes sure that that style sheet has a link that has an ID. What does it actually do? Know what I mean? Where is this actually defined? Defined right here. Is it literally just adding a CSS file? Dynamically?
Well, it's adding a class and a link, yeah, a CSS file. And if not, if else, then it's removing the class.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess what's in here? Oh, it's adding a font. Oh, okay. All right, so maybe it's loading a font at a specific time. Interesting. So we might not be able to dynamically load the CSS file based upon the mere presence of that part of the render array, but we can dynamically load the JavaScript file because that would register the anonymous function that wakes up whenever the element that has that ID is clicked. So based on the documentation we were reading, they're saying that we can do something like this to a specific block. Wait a minute, what is this some variable? Variable. That's weird. Here's our function here. It's creating some kind of. Oh wait, this is not where we. Wait, this is the block. And I guess what they're saying is we put it somewhere there. What is it? Return in the build function to return that kind of array, whereas we're just returning build there. Some kind of theme ID. Oh, okay. We would want to maybe create a theme function for our block. Or we could just say that the build block. Maybe put it do something like build. I'm thinking it's something like this. What do we call the library? Library. And then we wouldn't load the CSS. Of the and I guess we wouldn't do that here. We would want to rethink this. Maybe we pass the build into this function so that we can decorate it. Go. So if let's think we can add here. Or at least we used to be able to. Why we shouldn't keep doing that. There. Maybe that's what I did there. So let's turn on the dyslexia stuff. We're over here, aren't we? Yep. Oh, it is checked. Okay. Well, let's check. And in here. An error here. Oh, yeah, well, that's no longer equal. It's associated with array. There we go. Why do you still say, oh, as we learned when we were working on the theming structures, probably want full-on debug mode turned on whenever you're doing theme stuff. The super cache stuff on. That's kind of neat. Some of the form elements aren't showing up though. Look at all the library. No, I didn't need to use source. Get a view of some of the JavaScript libraries that are being loaded to the page. Yep. Ooh, we've got files not loading. And the aggregation turned on. Maybe I want to turn off the aggregation now so I can see the individual JavaScript library. Okay. Get those for now. Lots of zero out of zero. I'm not loading the JavaScript files.
Oh, there's a typo in your libraries.
Is there?
The dependencies needs to have needs to be moved over, right? Too many spaces in front of it.
Yeah, it looks that way. Not sure if that's actually the case.
Up above on line number 4.
Yeah, I know. But I copied that and pasted that. Maybe I just get rid of the dependency for now. There we go. Maybe I'm going to have to flush the cache in order to really see this come in. Yeah, I'm trying to attach the library. Oh. li slash that. For good measure. Flush the cache. Well, I'm not seeing the form element show up either. Maybe there's something wrong with this render array for a form element. Am I getting an error? My log's reporting an error of some sorts. Yeah, it looks like I am. Isn't like attributes. I don't have. Which is a requirement now? Hmm. I might need to define the form separately and then get form like this example is showing. This still looks all good. Just that it might need to be in a form. So why don't we try to generate a form that is very similar in structure to this? Let's push that off to the side there. Oh, good, good, very good. That on that side, that on the other. All right. Okay, Drupal generate form. Yep, li module. Li block new form. Why not? Um, those services. Yes, let's generate the form structure. Oh, we've got a box. Oh, not checkboxes. No. None. Right. Checkbox. Thank you. Input label optimize fonts for Domain name. Hmm. Shall I open? Value. Wait. Okay. Next. All the checkboxes. Oh, I invert. Oh, I have the feeling that I'm almost done. Animation. Hmm. Well, this one doesn't have a label. But we'll give it one. And that's good. So we can, in the block, which is here again. Here. Ah. Fine. We'll open. You get the name of the form. So believe that's the proper namespace. Line 4. Not sure what extra is. Form arguments. Be a string. Like an empty string. So I could shortcut all the stuff that's happening there. Just returning form here. And then it won't do any of this. Let's see how that works. I am guessing that I will need to flush the cache. Yep. Well, at least it didn't crash immediately. So I get the feeling that once you get really comfortable with, working with blocks, putting forms in blocks, render arrays in Drupal 8, this kind of thing would go faster. Did I blow it up? Huh, that's not different. I expected some kind of difference. Let's see. Let's cut this out. We won't need this. We're using the plugin system now. And this is the form for the block. This is the actual block. And yeah, we're passing in the build, but we're not really doing anything with it. Just getting the form. So let me check one thing out real quick. Put Sammy on the screen. I go to whenever I'm having issues. When I'm render. So it should only be saying Sammy at this point. All right. It's not. Flush it again. And Sammy. There we go. I'm back in control. That's the setting for me. Ooh, I wonder if it doesn't know. That's the definition of that. Aha! Well, that one's in a backup. That one shouldn't be loading. Maybe it is. And this other one is not from the, it's not from this block, it's from the previous function, the module function. Yeah, so that's ally.module. I need to call this something different. Wait. Dude, back here. All right. I'm obviously getting tired. Things that should be working are not working. Undefined function. I think we need to call it a night, Lowell. My brain stopped working. Still there?
Oh, yeah, I turned my brain on. I'm back. So is it not seeing that function? Ooh.
Yeah. There it is. Yes, thank you. That's what I meant to say.
Oh.
Okay. There we go. And this function is called at the beginning. We probably need to track that down, see what that's doing. But we're very quickly running out of time here.
Well, yeah. Come back at this when you're fresh, and you'll probably just piece it together in a few minutes. Or you.
Yeah. We may not have to do this. This seems to be the condition registration of specific JavaScript files. Yeah, we're building the actual form there. Maybe I'll take this file that I busted out, bring it back in. There. I'm returning the form here immediately. And now that I know it's executing this code, and I know that it's going to return that form out, maybe all I need to do is flush the cache. And then I'll check to see if I can tell it to spit out a form.
Cross my fingers.
Cool. It's an array. That needs to be rendered. I'm doing it this way. Let's really blow it up. We're going to flush the cache here so that we can get the new form in place. Blow up. Oh, it didn't blow up. But we got our checkboxes. And are they named appropriately? We've got it's named differently. Added the term edit each of these keys, and I bet Brian wouldn't like that. They are uniquely named. Following the same kind of naming structure that we did, and I'm just going to get rid of this field here. We're pretty close. So we got 5 minutes left. The remaining work would be obviously clean up this form. The text size part of this form would not be a checkbox, would be those 3 icons that we would normally want. To get rid of that first item, the no one that I messed up on, and then make sure that the JavaScript is loading for the right things. Hey, you know what? Am I telling it to load? I'm not telling it to load additional JavaScript. But so I would go back, and now that I know that all of my previous tests were actually using the same named function from the .module instead of my block, I need to name these things differently, and that makes sense anyway. Go back, check to see if I can conditionally load these libraries when I need to. And maybe if you're watching this and you have a comment about a better way to do this, or a good example that shows how to do a block like this that has a form and conditionally loads libraries for different parts, that'd be great. But we've got 5 minutes left, and I think I'm just going to go to bed. Sleep on it. Well, what did you take away?
Oh, quite a bit. Quite a bit. I don't know if I can quantify any of it. More.
Well, if I were to take a stab at summarizing.
Yeah, it's just more of learning how you're solving the problems when you come across them.
Right. So we took a look at the Drupal module upgrader. We saw that it was able to get us part of the way there, and it pointed us to a number of great documentation sources. We learned that a module like this has a great deal of libraries, and we're going to have to make sure it's working with the new library API. We generated a new form for it and a new block, and we're pretty close to being able to be done. We're just going to need more than 2 hours to do it.
So is this something now you'll push back to the community? So either you or someone else or me can help finish it.
Yeah.
Okay. And where would you do that?
Well, I would go to the issue queue for the module. And again, that module is at LA. Then I would open the issue here for Drupal 8.
Oh.
And then I would basically, upload my code as a zip file here or as a patch, something. And the developer who's moderating this module would be able to pick that up and do more with it. But it was recommended because it was a great and maybe with another night into this, we could get it to a place where they could tweak it a little bit further. But as far as the anatomy of the module, we got the form there. We got the libraries kind of moved around a little bit. We started working on the library registration, and it is kind of in its polish phase right now, where we need to prove that all the pieces are working and all the pieces are assembled properly. Maybe not polish, maybe more like final assembly.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Well, thanks again for joining, Lowell. We'll hit this again next week. Don't quite have a plan yet for next week, but maybe it's that deep dive into other CMSs. And then the week after that, I'll be on a family vacation. Won't have a show in 2 weeks, but we'll be back again to maybe have a chance to talk about front-end development again, specifically about a component-driven development, similar to the show we did on paragraphs, but maybe more about the front-end perspective instead of the site builder perspective of that idea. And then, coming soon, will be DrupalCon.
Should be exciting.
Really exciting. So much excitement.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.